Hey, we are live.
That was fancy.
That was fancy. Folks, I've got a new piece of technology here that I'm using to stream. So we were just having a little bit of fun getting this set up, and hope you like the nice little intro. That's not why you're here today. You're here to talk about that juicy subject of the latest Tesla update, version 11. And I got a feeling we're going to have a very spirited conversation, and I'm hoping to get some really great, what's we're looking for, for the folks out there to comment so that we can have a good, lively debate. I want to know what everyone else there thinks. But before we get there, we're going to do the usual round of introductions. So I am Paul, also known as Tesla Canuck. And then we have Tesla Kev. I usually introduce Tesla Kev as the guy that I go to when I have Tesla questions. So he's very, very knowledgeable on all things Tesla. And then, Dax, of course, from Tesla Talks, who should be no stranger to any Tesla fan out there who watches YouTube. So thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Paul.
Thanks for having me on again. And hey, guys.
Yeah. All right, it's great. Well, I think we have a great subject today, so let's dive right into it. So first, I'm just going to ask a question to the panel here, and then I'm going to ask the same question to the audience out there. And like I said, I want to get some feedback, some discussion going, and have a lively conversation. So starting with Tesla Kev, or Kevin, tell me what you like about version 11, and then tell me what you dislike about version 11. Try to keep it fairly brief, but let's just launch in with that.
I'm going to start. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to tell you what I don't like, because there's one thing that really bothers me, and that is why they felt the need to change the music icon, because a musical note is kind of universal. To me, that's just change for the sake of change, and no good comes of it. Anyways, it's small, but it really annoys me. What I like about it is that.
Wait a minute, was that the only thing you didn't like?
No, the list that I don't like is very long. So what I'm going to say is what I do like about it is to make it a really, really great release wouldn't take much. There's a few small changes that will fix all of the problems that I don't like with it, which are many. There's a lot of things I don't like about it, but it would be fairly easy to fix, in my opinion. So,
did we lose Paul?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Okay.
Maybe Paul didn't like what I had to say. I don't know.
Maybe
protest.
Sorry. That was my bad. I had to go take care of something. Okay, so
cheers.
Yes, I am back.
I thought you were protesting. I thought you were protesting my answer.
Yes. No, my wife was complaining about the Tesla update. I had to go take care of it. Dax, over to you. Same question.
Well, you know what? Overall, it was a very exciting, a very good update. Probably one of the better updates we've got in a long time. I say that only because last year's lackluster update was, it left a lot to be desired. Anyways, the best feature I find...
We didn't get the heat last year?
Oh, we didn't get
fire.
the heat. No. There was like snowballs, I think, in my opinion. What I find the best feature in version 11 was, or still is, the blind spot monitoring cameras, the blind spot cameras, or view. When they first said they were going to bring it out, or on Twitter when he said, we'll bring it, I didn't know how they were going to implement it. Yeah, the layout can be, or the implementation of where it's placed on the screen is up for debate, where it's better suited ergonomically or to your eye. But I think that's subjective. Just the fact that we have it, and they can tweak that a little bit if they want and play around, or even give us the choice of where we want to put it in the future, that'd be good. Just the fact that we have it, though, is I think is very useful. For the past little less than a week that I've been using it, it's incredibly useful. I've almost found myself not looking, which I know I shouldn't. It's still good to do physical shoulder checks, but I find myself almost concentrating on that, which, like I said, can be a little bad. But what about you, Paul?
Oh, okay. Where do I start? Well, first of all, Kevin, someone agrees with you. That doesn't happen very often. No, I'm just kidding. So Steve-O there, yeah, so he agrees with you. And let me actually just do something quickly before I answer your question. Just getting sorted here.
Kev, I don't think he wants to answer the question.
There we go. Okay,
he's avoiding.
no, I want to answer this question
He's
because
avoiding.
I do have stuff to say about it. So I'm gonna go with what I like first, right? So I do like the visuals around it. I think where the visuals have been refreshed, the visuals work. Things being larger, things being colorful. To me, that works. I like that. Uh, I think what I dislike the most is the cards. I really like the cards, and I think the cards were a great feature where you could just swipe and have access to things immediately, like your trip information, your tire pressure, these type of things. So I do miss the cards. So I'd say those are, that's what I like, that's what I dislike about it. It looks like we're generating some comments here, so I want to make sure that we follow through with our audience participation as we go through this discussion. So let's just take a look here at the next one. So eliminating one-touch defrost is actually dangerous in northern climates. Let's talk about this one because we joke all the time about, and no offense to my friends in California. I used to live in California, in the Bay Area, so I love California. But when you design things in California, you're not necessarily thinking about northern climates necessarily, even though it's the one state where you can go to the beach and ski all on the same day, which I have done before. But that being said, we joke about it, but designed in California for Californians, Dax.
Yeah, no, you know what? That phrase has been said a lot in the last 3-4 years. And it's usually said by, like you're saying, Paul, by us northerners in the wintry climates. And yeah, it's true to some extent. I usually want to give Tesla the benefit of the doubt and say, no, it's, they've done extensive winter testing, but then we see these little problems come up or pop up. And even if it's not our engineering problem, like this situation where it's a software thing that it clearly looks like they overlooked it or didn't even give it any thought, because yeah, that is something, the defrost, the quick access to it, just like the heated seats, is something that should have not been overlooked, should be. And I know we sound, when I say this, or when any of us say this, we sound like spoiled Tesla people. That, I mean, my wife tells me this all the time, and it does. If you sit back or stand back and think about it and listen to yourself, yeah, we do sound
It's
a
a
little
first
spoiled.
world problem.
Exactly, but you know what?
Right?
It's something that they've given us, and we got used to, and we found that it's not even that we got used to. It's something that's essential that you can use every day, and then they take it away from us, and they give us it buried in multiple clicks. I have a feeling, and I'm probably going to say this numerous times throughout the podcast, I have a feeling that a lot of these things that we don't have in version 11, this first look at it, they're going to slowly come back, I have a feeling.
Okay. Kevin, do you have any thoughts on Made in California by Californians?
I mean, I see some comments about it being dangerous. Look, in every car that's out there, there's a button for a defrost, right? It's right there. And so, I think if this release came in July, I think there'd be a lot less salty people on this, just because the seat heaters and the defrost is 2 clicks, and that's frankly, and I agree with someone. It's not only inconvenient, it could be dangerous, and so I do agree. I'm going to go back to my previous comment, though. What I said was it wouldn't take much to fix all of this, and Dax is right. They're going to make changes, and if I'm going to sound conceited here, but if they listen to what I'm about to say, it'll probably solve all the problems. Have a good listen, Elon. What they need to do actually is make the whole bottom row customizable, and then that tray, open up the tray to all the features and functions and let people customize, because opinions are like, everyone's got one. And so let people decide how they want their things organized. I have a Model X and a Model 3, and one of the things I've come to know is that the Model X, legacy Model X, clearly it was an afterthought in the version 11, because version 11 they're looking at a completely different I guess screenscape. And so by my count on my Model X, you could fit very comfortably 9 different icons across the bottom, possibly up to 10, depending if you rearrange things. And so I think that having 10 customizable icons on the bottom of any area within the car's functionality would solve every problem that we're talking about here. Seat heaters, defrost, if someone wants to put their steering wheel there, if they want, you name it, you could do it. And so I think why limit if you're allowing customization, move things around, why put a limit on that, right? And so I think if they take it off, they take the gloves off, so to speak. I think everybody is happy, because it'll allow you to customize it any way you want. And then this becomes an incredibly good update, right? As long as they put back the music symbol.
Let's hold that thought about how we would design it, because I'm sure we'll have time to talk about that. But I wanted to get to this next comment. I'm not sure if you guys felt the same, but it felt very unnatural for me to look down at the blind spot view. And I've read a lot of comments where people were suggesting that it should be up at the top. Now, I'm not sure how you kind of bump the speedometer and all that kind of stuff, but I think it would be more natural from your view perspective to see it at the top of the screen instead of the bottom. Dax.
My only, and like I was saying earlier, my only thing to that would be not everyone's the same height. So for me, it's not looking up or looking down. Sorry,
they could have put it lower for Dax.
Yeah, it's at eye level. I'm not a tall person if no one's ever met me in real life. So, but I get what you mean, and that's why I said at the beginning about 5 minutes ago when I was talking about it. Yeah, maybe they can make it customizable where you can actually touch your finger and drag it to wherever you want, and then it locks in that position and remembers. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, something like that I think would be good. But I agree. I mean, I'm not 6'4" or anything, but
you're a giant in my eyes.
Yeah.
So far, I think the theme of the conversation is customization, right? Allow people to move things around and do what they want and what's comfortable for them, right? So
yeah. And you can see they're on their way there by just those 4 apps giving us the choice that they never had before. So it shows that that's what their initial intention was to do, but I don't know. My personal take on it is that I think it's incomplete. I think they rushed it out. When typical Elon, when he said on Twitter last week, "Oh, it'll be ready by Tuesday," I can just imagine the software developers scrambling and like, what did he say? He said what?
Like if you look at, I put a picture up on the screen here. Right? This is of my Model Y, and one of the things you can see is that when there's no passenger, there's a lot of space. If you look at the Bluetooth icon at the very bottom, and this is your most recent apps, right? It just feels to me like there's some wasted space there, that there could be more customizable options, to Kevin's point, right? Where this entire row really becomes about you putting what you use down there, right? So
definitely, yeah.
I definitely think that has a lot of merit. Right.
Someone needs to explain to me why we need 2 temperatures when someone's sitting in the passenger seat and it's not split, right?
Exactly.
So, meaning that it's both the same temperatures. Why are we showing 20 twice, right? Why? There's no need for that, and that could be I know that they have an icon that's last use icon, right? You could interchange that. So basically, you could have a spot for your last use icon, where the second 20 is, and then if someone splits it, then you've got 2 different numbers, and then the last use icon goes away. It's a very simple problem to fix, I think. And I want to go back to what Dax said about them rushing this. I actually don't think that's a very good excuse, and the reason for that is because this OS has been out, or this UI has been out for 6 months, because it came out with the redesigned Model S. So it's been out a good 6 months.
Oh, is this the same one?
It's the exact same one.
Oh,
Is it really? Okay.
It is.
I
It
thought
is.
there's
So
some differences.
there's if there are, I didn't notice because I've driven the redesigned S,
Yeah.
and this is it, right? This is V11. They rolled V11 out with the new S, and this is it. It's exactly the same,
Okay.
unless I missed something. But this thing has been out for quite a while, so I'm not buying this was rushed. So
Yeah. I mean, you never know, right? I mean, obviously there was a lot of pressure, I think, on Elon. A lot of the pressure came from the community too, right? So I think had they said, listen, it's not ready, there's not going to be a holiday release, it'll be out in January, probably would not have gone over very well, even though I would personally understand it. I like having baked software, something that's ready to go. But I want to get to more viewer comments, so let's just kind of keep plowing through. I'm going to pull this one up again. So John likes the lane change camera. Other than the position of it, I think it's a fantastic idea. It's really awesome to see that. But then he says you got to go to the menus for just about everything else. And I know that's been a fairly common complaint. Dax, I know you recently did a video about the voice commands, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with the voice commands, and if you think the voice commands can overcome the shortcomings of this release?
Well, yeah, I think to answer your question in reverse, yeah, I think it probably can, but probably it's not what we should use because really that's a band-aid solution. I like many people, when I remember when I put that video out yesterday, a lot of people commented that, oh, I forgot about the voice commands. And like myself, I also forgot about it too. Yeah, because they were good. And when they came out, how popular they were and people were finding out what they did and what the extent of it was. And then people even compiled lists and put it on websites and everything. And then we forgot about it.
I think that's the problem, what you mentioned about compiling lists, right? Yeah. And I think the reason why I don't use voice very much, even though I've been using it much more than I have in the past with this release now, but the reason why I haven't used it a lot is because it doesn't feel like natural language. Like, I don't want to memorize commands, right? Yeah. I want to just be able to speak, what I need. And if it's not ready yet, then it's not going to be useful, in my opinion.
No, I remember you saying that to me when we were talking a couple of days offline. And that is a good point, that it's not. I know we're comparing it to like cell phones, like Android and Cortana and Siri and stuff like that, even Alexa. Yeah, exactly. But you know what? From what I understand, I've never used it, but from what I understand from all my IT friends, that wasn't bad. I don't know if it's still around, but for the time that it was out or it was being developed, it was pretty good compared to like bigger ones like Siri. It was much better apparently.
Yeah, I'm in both ecosystems, right? So if I use Google Assistant, for example, I can really butcher my speech, and it can often figure out what I wanted, right? And I just don't think Tesla's there, right? Tesla seems to be very much, if you don't know the command, the right words.
Yeah, I see that.
I'll be honest with you guys. The only command I can actually remember, because I thought it was funny and because it was natural language, was my balls are cold, right? And it turns.
It's funny how you remember that.
Yeah, that's the only one I remember. And you know what? It turns my seat heater on, and life's grand, right? Oh, by the way, if you say if you say the female version of that, it also works. My wife checked it out. So.
Oh wow! Oh my
well,
God.
Thank your wife for us.
But to answer your question, Paul, no, it is, like I said, it is a band-aid solution. I was playing around with it before I decided to make a video, and as it started working, and as things that I couldn't find in this new release that were buried and hidden, and I was finding that it was working if I used the voice commands, I said, you know what, let me make a video about it. And it's not perfect. There's still things like the PSI. You can't get your PSI. There's no voice command as far as I know. And if anyone knows in the chat, let me know. But I haven't been able to find it. Yeah. No, I've tried every version. And I know even the ones that sound really weird. But I'm hoping it's a temporary Band-Aid until they fix these little things, like bring back the seat heaters as quick adjustments. And we're talking about the defogger and defrosters.
That comment up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Our take on the seat heaters, I think it's pretty unanimous as people who live in a northern climate, it's like, give me my bleeping thing on the screen that I can easily tap. So yes, that's how we feel about it.
Or give us a toggle button in the control panel. Do you live in California? Toggle one way. Do you not?
Yeah.
Toggle the other way. And then the whole layout changes to normal.
So in Tesla's defense, I did notice, not in my Model X, but in my Model 3, I did notice they added a feature that has auto seat heaters now. So basically, if they're, I think the way it works is if the temperature is below a certain temperature and someone sits in the seat, it automatically turns on the seat heaters, right? And so I don't know the algorithm. I don't know where the cutoff is on that, like whether it's like 0 or 10 degrees Celsius, whatever. But there is an auto function there, and I'm not sure how it works. And I think the part of the reason why they buried it or tried to bury it is because they want people to use the auto function.
I thought of that too. You're gonna correct something, Paul?
Well, no, I just feel very strongly about this because, look, Elon says, and he said many times, right? He says all human input is error, right? And it's like,
It's true.
You know what? I don't claim to be anywhere near as smart as Elon is, but that sounds like a pretty stupid comment, right?
Well, he's not wrong with version 11. His programmer's input.
Yeah, his programmer's input are error. Yeah. I mean, thank you very much for the auto seat heaters, whatever they're called. I like to control my own seats. Thank you very much. But that's just how I feel about it.
The way, from what I understand, how it works, from what I've been reading on the seat heaters, and I tried it out. It actually works pretty good for me. But I'm also in the camp that the auto wipers work pretty good. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But from what I understand, what it does is it measures
auto wipers.
It measures the ambient temperature in the cabin, and it tries to adjust the seat heaters to the ambient temperature in the cabin. So I've been watching it. I put it on auto a couple of times on a couple of trips, medium distance trips, and I've watched it come on and off, on and off. Now, of course, this is me having to go into the HVAC system, and if you leave it for a while, it closes and shuts down, and you got to reopen it again. But I've watched it. It'll come on for like 30 seconds with one bar, and then it'll go off. So it just regulates it at a certain temperature. So I guess you're comfortable.
I like a constant.
Yeah, on or off. I agree. Yeah.
I will say this. I will say this, Paul. The auto wipers on my wife's car are absolutely bulletproof. I'm with Dax. They are absolutely bulletproof, and I've seen it in other Model 3s where it's a complete disaster, and I don't understand it because it's a disaster in my Model X as well. I don't understand.
4 Teslas.
Yeah.
It's been a disaster in each one of them.
I don't understand it. I honestly, I don't get it. And I don't understand why it's so good in my wife's car and why it's so not good in my X and in other people's 3s that I've been in. I just don't get it.
This is going to spur another conversation that I don't know could be controversial, but
can't be any worse than keep my balls.
Yeah, it can't get any worse than the title of this live stream either. So, I don't know, where was I going with this?
Oh, I thought you were thinking how to say it. I was going to say just say it.
Yeah. Okay.
You should post Steve-O's comment. Steve-O's got a really good comment.
Okay. He's got another one? Where is it? Oh, down here. Okay. I want to have easy and personal control of my ball tap. Yeah. That's important.
That's a fair comment. It's a fair comment.
That's a fair comment, especially if you're in breeding mode and need to have everything down there kosher, right? For when you get home. Oh boy. Okay. I digress. What was I talking about just before that?
The wipers disaster.
The wipers disaster. Okay. Here's what's going to be controversial, right? Don't get me wrong. I love the games. The light show is really cool, right? But is that where developer time should be spent right now, right? I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know. I've gotten in trouble in the past by saying that we don't really need fart mode, but a lot of people love it. So
you know what?
Tell me.
we were talking about this off air earlier today in a chat, and I like your response, and I know this is where you're going with it. The response that you talked about Lucid and stuff like that, and the arrogance, that I actually copied it. I copied it down to read on tonight's show. So do you mind me reading it verbatim? Or
so you're going to read my words?
I don't know if you want me to. If you don't want me to, I won't. But it's
for
brilliant.
penny, for a pound, let's do it.
Okay, this is what Paul, and I'm fully agreeing with you, and I admire you for saying this because I think it speaks volumes. You said
I think I need to position this first. That
okay,
you know, I am a Tesla lover. I love Tesla. Okay, don't get me wrong.
No, he does. He certainly does. Yeah, and that's why we have a podcast and a whole channel devoted to
criticism.
That, right?
Is good sometimes, right? It spurs the correct behaviors. Sometimes.
Exactly. What's the name of your channel, Paul?
It's Tesla Canuck.
There you go. So anyone that thinks Paul is anti-Tesla, check the title of the channel. So basically, we were talking about all the gripes and stuff like that, and the topic of the games came up, and you said, I think this level of Tesla design arrogance can only happen unchecked when there's no competition. I don't want to have a sound. I don't want to sound like a spoiled sport. Can I swear?
Sure.
Okay, but you said, but fuck the games and the light shows until the basics are taken care of, like proper driving orientation and the functioning auto wipers. This is just how I feel about it, unquote. And when you said that, I thought, yeah, and I thought, you know why I copied this and why I wanted to? Because you're bang on. You're absolutely bang on. Like this is why we need competition. If there was no other car makers pushing Tesla or coming out with better things or different things, then we'd be like, I hate to say it, as forward thinking as Tesla is, we'd be stale, and it would inevitably, because all companies do this, whether they set out to originally or they don't want to originally, it ends up always being complacency kicks in, and they get comfortable in their role. So the competition, that helps.
I hate to say it, guys, but I do think there is a level of hey, we need to like everything in the market these days. Clickbait is rampant, right? Like traditional journalism is pretty much gone because it doesn't get clicks. It didn't happen, right? So I think Tesla's a little bit a victim of that as well, because they look at the way they market themselves, and they market themselves, let's be honest, as they're more than a car company. They're selling more than a car. And so stuff like the farts and the games and crypto and being able to buy those kind of neat and novel things that are different from sort of other traditional car companies tend to make headlines and tend to position them the way they want to be seen, which is different as a car company. And don't get me wrong, I am not defending this. I 100% agree with you, Paul, and your quote. You got to get the basics right first, but I do think
it's marketing.
It is their marketing, right?
Yeah, like Elon is a brilliant marketer, right? If like most people will kind of think Elon, he's a genius, SpaceX, all this kind of stuff. When I think of him, I think of his crowning achievements are his understanding of marketing and human behavior and consumer behavior. Make no doubt, he is an expert at that, probably better than anyone else on the planet when it comes to doing that. And I know why we have those features, right? It's part of the overall marketing and the image and all this kind of stuff, right? But in the end, the reason why I said that in our Tesla group was because in the end, we still have to drive the car. It's still a car, right? So things like being able to access, quick toggle things like defrost when you live in a northern climate, it's critical to the driving experience, right? So,
yeah, I've been saying.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just echo what Kevin was saying. I've been saying that for the last year and a half about the games. I love games. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't find I don't find the time to play it in my car, and I could be wrong. And I think somebody in the comments there was saying, John was saying that it burns up memory. I don't know. I'm not a software developer enough to know whether that's separate from all the other stuff that the car's interface does. So I don't know if it's interfering or getting in the way or taking up room. But I can't wait if this rumored Tesla app store ever comes where we can choose what we put on and what we put off. If it ever does come, the first things I'll be taking off the car is the bloatware, those games, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, one other feature I think of this update that hasn't gotten any coverage at all, and mostly because I don't think many people know about it. But there's a website that I use in my cars called Tesla Waze. So it's basically some developer took the Waze algorithm and put it in the background of basically a dynamic map, and you can just pull it up in the browser and you can see where all the speed traps are, speed cameras, everything, right? And so it's like Waze, but it's in a static, or not a static, but it's in a traditional web browser. One of the things it doesn't work anymore, and the reason it doesn't work is because when the page loads up, it asks for permission to look at to get your location from the browser, and you have to accept it. I think Tesla has prevented location tracking from the website, from the browser, sorry. And because of that, the site no longer works. Yeah. And so for me, more than anything else, I think I'm the saddest about that thing because I
love your Waze.
Well, no, it's just I like to see if I'm about to get busted for speeding somewhere, and
that's why you love your Waze.
And that's why I love the Waze. And so, and I don't want to have to run it off my phone, right? So I enjoy running it off the car. So I don't know, Alon, if you're listening, can you please put back the the location tracking in the browser so I can use Tesla Waze?
I think what he's doing there is actually good, and developers feel free to chime in, but you don't want to expose too much to just about anyone on the internet, right? So I think that when the App Store does come, it's going to be like a sandboxed walled garden type of implementation to ensure that these apps aren't doing anything nefarious, right? And a web app could be doing something nefarious. Okay, let's move on to, we're really behind on the comments of the viewers. So no AP are navigating on autopilot in Model 3 in Alberta right now, snow over everything. How's FSD going to cope? And then issues with the minus 30 temperatures. And I know there's some people, like there's been a real large number of people who have lost their heat lately in their Teslas. So, I'm not sure that's really subject for this particular conversation, but it does, in my mind, bring up the whole notion of where you're spending your developer time. And, FSD, Kevin, you and I had FSD back in 2017, right? It's going on 5 years now, right? Yeah. And, again, I think that if it's going to be sold everywhere and marketed everywhere, then things should work when there's a little bit of the white stuff on the ground, right?
So. Well, this isn't my information, but I've been told, so I'm like third or fourth person saying this. So not to say take it with a grain of salt, not that I'd say I'm making it up or anything, but I've been told that someone that has the beta has been driving it in the snow, not just sprinkling snow, like where you've got tracks, but like snow covered, no lanes markings or anything like that. And apparently it's working fairly well, like surprisingly well.
Yeah, John actually says that in the comments. He says that he's been driving it. He's got the full self-driving beta, and is working in 7 inches of snow in Minnesota. No lines on the road, no nothing. So
okay. What I'd be curious to know. Yeah, what I'd be curious to know from John, because from what the person that told me, they didn't have the information, but I'd be curious, how's the braking? Because, if like any car, if it doesn't brake with the conditions of the road, you could be in the back of a car real quickly. So I'm curious, I wonder how the braking is.
That's a really great question, because it takes a lot of time to learn how to drive in a winter climate. Right. So I'd be curious to see what the FSD beta is capable of in snow. But maybe we'll get it one day and we can find out ourselves. But let's move on to the next comment. Looks like someone's found a problem with version 11. And actually, I've experienced this where you're on a call and there's no red button to end the call.
This is pre-version 11. This happened before version 11.
Did it?
Yes.
And it got carried over in version 11?
Yeah.
It just happened to me.
It happened to me before. It happened to me. This is pre-version 11. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are we talking about when the card disappears or the actual just a button?
On the dialer, there's no end call.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like you're just going to have to talk to the person forever.
Or get the person to hang up.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky in my X. I've got in the heads up display. I've got a way to end calls using the scroll button, which obviously you don't have in the 3 or the Y. But that's the way I hung up. But the button disappeared. On the other screen. So
I haven't tried Sketchpad, but I'll take John's word for it that it doesn't seem to be recognizing fingers on the touch screen. Have you guys tried it?
No.
No,
that's one app that I forgot that even exists.
Here on this next one here, also from John about the glove box button. He doesn't like where it is, and for the longest time, like Kevin was saying, that the only voice command that he remembers is "my balls are cold." The only one I remember is "open glove box" because I've never wanted to go into a menu to open the glove box. So. And now that it seems to be a little bit more varied, I'll just continue using voice for that. But I can see that being frustrating.
I have a physical button for the box in my X, so I've always loved that. So,
you know what someone told me a couple of days ago when it first came out regarding that glove box button? They said, "Well, and I'm going to play devil's advocate by saying this, not to say that I believe it, but their excuse for it having it on the far right of the screen was, well, y'all in real world or other cars, traditional cars, you have to reach over anyways, like far reach over and press the button. So Tesla is just like mimicking that on the screen now. I'm like, really? I don't buy it.
That's like I said, I just use the voice command for that because, and it works pretty well, right? So John misses the dash cam save button. I miss that too. Like I know you can honk. You don't always want to honk, right?
I always want to honk.
Well, I know you. I know how you drive.
You got to be careful these days.
Get out of the way. It's Kevin.
That movie out of a year ago shows that you don't want to honk to just anyone and everyone. Yeah.
So it was very easy just to kind of. I got muscle memory doing it because whenever something interesting would happen, and I think, well, maybe I could do something with this with a video or something. I just, and now it's, it's controls and then, go into it. Let me see if I've got a picture of that somewhere here.
So I saw I saw an accident when the cops were on the side of the road and I wanted to film it. So I honked at them. Let me just say they didn't appreciate it very much.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's where it is now. I mean, on the plus side, the button's a lot larger. You can touch anywhere in that kind of rectangle area versus that little tiny icon. So, in that regard, it's better. But, it's if you really just want to get something, it was much easier previously to do that.
Yeah, it still needs to be dedicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Paul, that's a great screenshot you got of the car. Like, it looks like you almost pulled that as a screen capture.
Yeah, I took it with my iPhone, but then I went in and fixed it up a little bit.
Good job.
in Adobe. So, but yeah, it's not too bad. I wish we could take screen captures from the actual display, though. That would be cool.
Well, there is a way to do it. Chris, Dirty Tesla, he does it in his videos, and a few other people. I think Chuck.
Yeah,
Chuck.
You got to figure out how to do that.
It's a part you buy to interface with you got to take the back of your screen off and everything, but it's a way to do it.
Maybe I won't do that. Yeah. So John will be using voice commands more for sure, and I think that's again back to what we said at the beginning and the video you made the other day, Dax. It's I know a lot of stuff can be done by voice. It just like I said, I wish it was more natural language. It's the only thing that I think is preventing me from really embracing that. But yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got here.
There's another comment in here saying auto high beams don't work as well either since the update.
Oh,
Let's see.
Warsong Tristan.
I got to try that out because I was a big proponent for the auto high beams, just leaving it on, and then a lot of people complained about it, like the wipers.
Yeah, mine's never worked properly in either one of my cars.
Oh wow, we've got a lot of comments here. This is
That's good. It's a good thing to have.
834, Paul. 834.
834.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, man. Okay, 834. Okay, there we go. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't noticed. So what's the issue with the high beams?
They just don't. Apparently, they don't work well. But mine's never worked well, anyways, even before the update. So.
Well, I have a friend that lives just a couple towns from me here at very rural, very country roads, and he says when he's driving, the high beams will kick in, but then when you come up to a posted reflective speed sign, the high beams reflect off that and bounce back to the camera, and then the camera thinks it's a headlight, so it turns off. So he's driving down a country road all by himself, nobody coming towards him or anything, and he's just strobing.
Huh. I had heard that there was an issue with the newer testicle vehicles. We got too much keep my balls are cold thing going on here. Tesla, not testicles. I've heard that there's some of the newer Teslas without radar have had issues with not the high beams, but on a 2-lane road, having the AP disengage or something like that because it thinks there's something head-on coming. Have you heard about that?
Well, that was when I was complaining to you. I was griping about that about 3 weeks ago. When I first experienced it, my car is a vision-only car, no radar, and people were complaining about that before. I never noticed it because predominantly most of my driving is on multi-lane highway or freeway. But just one time about 2-3 weeks ago, I happened to be on just a country road, single lanes each way. And every single time a pickup truck or anything bigger, like a tractor trailer, would come towards me and I'd be on AP, it would just slam on the brakes. And sometimes when not all the time, but sometimes when I'd be going over or coming up to a crest of the hill, it wouldn't slam on the brakes, but it would slow down considerably to what the set speed was. And it was dangerous. Like now I know, and at that moment I realized, now I know why people were complaining, and some people were adamant saying I won't use it anymore until it's fixed. That was a few updates ago, like I said. Since those 2-3 weeks, I've got 2 updates since, and the drives that I've been taking on it on those same country roads, they're gone.
So version 11 fixed it?
Happily say it's gone. Oh, actually, it was version 44.6, the one before the update.
Yeah.
So Warsong Tristan is saying that he found that the high beams, they just weren't turning off after the update. When oncoming cars are coming, the lights weren't turning off.
Oh.
And John's actually saying for the full self FSD beta in Minnesota, and he's driving, the high beams are automatically turned on so the car can see at night, so you have no control over them.
Oh, really?
Shut them off.
That is interesting.
Well, that's how the Vision cars were originally. When the Vision first came out back in the summer and you went on autopilot, you couldn't turn the high beams off. Now you can. Now they've given, in a few updates since, they've given you the control to take it off if you like.
Okay. Looks like we've got like 134 comments here.
Well, there's a famous one at 836.
836. Okay, my apologies if we don't get to your comment. I feel bad about that. But we'll do our best. So 836, you saw one from who?
Tristan, talking about Nova Scotia. I think
Nova Scotia.
mentioned this before.
Tristan, I love tonight. Holy.
Okay. How will FSD ever work? In Nova Scotia, there's always salt, brine, and crap covering my cameras. Yeah, in Ontario too, and I'm sure other parts of the world that use a salt brine. many parts of the northern states in the U.S. for sure, right? Like this is a real problem. I've done a video on it before, and the cameras get caked, and it's just back to my. I just don't know if FSD is any time in our immediate future. Just how I feel about it. But what do you guys think?
You know what? Yeah, I don't know. I'm always optimistic, but yeah, the realist in me says I don't know how they're going to overcome some of these problems. So.
Just saw this comment here. I dragged the dash cam save button down to the bottom menu bar. I know that you can drag the
What?
Sentry. I know you can, like, your camera to replay your Sentry stuff. I'm not aware that you can drag the dash cam and that has the save, but I could be wrong. I mean, I also put my dash cam as one of my user set icons. Let me just put this back up on the screen here.
Yeah.
It's the one with the little red dot in the top right corner.
Oh, did I accidentally get rid of Kevin? Sorry. Where are we?
Oh no, Kevin, you're like how I was last month, where all the text is cutting your head off.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Sorry, folks, I'm using new software here. But yeah, so I dragged. You can see it right there. This is from my car, right? So I dragged the dash cam down, but I thought it was just to kind of view your dash cam footage. I didn't see anything there to, like, maybe if you.
That is only to do your footage. If you do that while you're driving,
so maybe TM
a black screen.
Yeah, like TM, if you can comment how you did that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I know. I was conversing with somebody on YouTube earlier today. They were trying to look for that dash cam icon, and it looked very similar to the backup camera icon.
Yes, it does.
That's another thing that, like, Tesla, come on, like, don't make two icons when you only have a list of like 10 or 12 so much alike that people are mixing them up now.
Okay, so I thought I put this up. It's not directly related to version 11, but I did see this earlier on in the week in the news, and very impressive. The safety rating, and Tesla's really always had incredible results when it comes to the crash testing, and I watched, actually, I think it was Tesla's own video that they made on it, where they talked about how they use all the data that they collect, right, and they go beyond what the standards are, right, and this is why I think they achieve such impressive crash ratings and tests. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just going to say quickly, there is a video I watched just yesterday. When I find the YouTuber, I'll put it in the comments. I'll link the video that talked about the crash ratings for the Y and the 3 that just came out, like you're talking about. And he went through all the categories and all the lists. So it's only like an 8-minute video, but it's a pretty good video talking about how Tesla achieved it and compared. And he compared the 3 and the Y and how they were better in certain ways. It's a pretty interesting video.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good content in around that. Let's take a look at what some of the media have been saying, just for giggles, right? Because back to back to Kevin's comment. See, whenever I think Tesla, I think Kevin. Back to Kevin's comment about there isn't really any journalism anymore. Everything seems to be just like clickbait, all that kind of stuff. So, this one's not too bad. I mean, I think this is a pretty balanced, that it's Tesla's version 11 UI changes are receiving strong critical feedback from drivers. I think that's an accurate title. Do you think that's fair, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird when I saw.
Thank you very much, John.
I saw when I saw this this title. I actually read this article. I was usually when they say things that are good, they receive critical acclaim. That's what I thought, and I was like, who's saying good things about this thing? So I started reading it, and they actually mean the opposite. So they're actually saying it's being highly criticized. for all the things that we've all talked about today, right? And burying stuff down, that was very easy to see before. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a fair comment. We've talked about it at length. But as I maintain, it wonn't be hard to fix if they do a few small changes. But right now, it's ticking off a lot of people.
So John has a great question here. Thank you very much, John, for the donation. It's certainly welcome. It's definitely not required. We love what we do here, and that's why we do it. But thank you very much. So on FSD Beta, if he drives across the border from Minnesota to Canada, will FSD Beta work in Canada? And the answer is yes. Right? We've had a lot of our American friends, fellow Tesla folks, come up, and it absolutely works. Dax, you've actually, I think, driven in one, or was that Franklin? I can't remember.
It was Franklin. I've driven in a Canadian FSD vehicle, but Franklin had a friend of his that is American that lives nearby the border that brought his American car and his American FSD Beta across the border, and it worked fine.
Yeah, so that's the answer to your question. So come visit. The border's always open for us.
I'll give you Paul's address. You can stay with him.
Sure.
And if not, Kevin.
If not, you can sleep. You can sleep in your Tesla. I've done it many times. It's quite comfortable.
I'm thinking of doing it again soon.
Actually, that actually, there's a couple questions about the loss of heat that you mentioned earlier. There, I saw a question about has anyone experienced heat loss recently as a result? I don't know if it's a result of the update or not, but.
You know what? As you guys know, I run my Facebook groups here in Canada for the Model Y and the Model 3, and I can't tell you. It's actually getting worse. It's getting very concerning, and I don't know if you saw, Paul, I was asking in our chat group, I was asking Darren if he's getting any information about it. It's getting so prevalent in my groups, both 3 and Y, in the past few weeks that it's alarming. I mean, it started off probably about a month or two ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Like 3 people I know in the last week have had this exact problem.
Yeah. And not even in the group. I've heard friends that, family members that just bought a car 2 weeks ago and theirs conked out on them. And they're new to Tesla. They're not Tesla freaks. They love their car and everything, but they're new to Tesla. And for this to happen 2 weeks in, what message does that send them? I mean, I guess all cars can have that, right? All cars can have an issue with time. They don't know. Luckily, they don't know that it's in my opinion, a predominant issue that's been going on quite a bit. They think it's just one-off for them. Tesla, they took it in, Tesla fixed it and replaced parts and everything. But I thought it was just new cars. Like maybe it's some part that's failing. It's a bad part that they got. But in my groups, I'm hearing cars that have been bought like almost a year ago around this time that they drove all through last winter, all through summer, fall, and now it's happening. So I want to say it's software, but then somebody said, when I suggested that, someone said, well, if it's software, wouldn't it be happening to everyone? I don't know enough about software to know.
Yeah, it's a real strange one. It's probably a coincidence that there's more of this after, I think it was 44.6 or was it 40.6 after something like that when we started seeing this. But who knows? I want to put John Patrick's comment up here because he has a strong opinion about this. So removing the quick access things from the upper right corner is crap.
Is that an acronym?
I would tend to agree. It took me a while to figure out how the heck to get into the Bluetooth settings. I'll be honest with you.
And
I mean, it seems obvious now, but it was just so simple before. And back to like the dash cam, right? Just hitting it to save the last 10 minutes. I agree, John. I think that's part of what I don't like about version 11.
Well, and what's the rationale for it? Like the amount of real estate you save is negligible. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It was just overlaid anyways. It really didn't take any real estate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was reading in the release notes, and I don't know if we can still pop up the release notes now, but in the release notes for when they talked about when they changed over the control panel, they said something about optimizing or focusing on the navigation and the driving experience. That's why they sort of decluttered it. There was some one sentence that they talked about it, and I'm like, is that their rationale behind it? But yeah, no, that's that bar on the top with those icons. Those are very, at least for me, they're very important, and I wish they come back. But I'm not complaining.
I mean, there's a lot here in Tesla's official kind of release notes here, but yeah, I mean, someone also told me like this site was like it's okay, it's informative, like what's in this version, right? But it didn't talk about the why. Like, a lot of people really want to know the why. Like, why did you remove those quick toggles at the top right-hand corner, right? I don't know, maybe it was a communication issue, but then again, Tesla doesn't have a PR department, so who knows, right? Maybe they have an internal comms. I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We've got this comment here on Tesla Motors Club. V11 software update sucks. Like, I've seen a lot of these comments, right? And I think that there are things like we've talked about that didn't work out as well as I think maybe Tesla had planned them to. Overall, does it suck? And that gets back to the title of this live stream, right? For me, overall, it doesn't suck. There are some individual things that suck, but for me, overall, I think that the software is good. I like the look and feel. I like some of the changes to the menus and the blind spot camera. Like, there's a lot of really great things in this release. So I don't want that to get overshadowed by some of the things that went wrong, even though some of them are really, really wrong. Does that make any sense? Like, I like it, but there's problems with it.
Yeah, no,
right?
We're allowed to like something and give it credit, but also be critical on a few things. I mean, is it we come to a society where we have to either be black or white? I hope not.
That's an important point, right? Because I think if you look at the number of Tesla owners now versus just last year, right, that as a community, I think it's important that we talk about not only what we love about Teslas, right? And 98% of the videos and live streams that I do are very positive about the Tesla experience, but we can't be afraid as members of the Tesla community to say, hey, you know what? I'm not sure this works, right? Without, getting roasted on Twitter. Right?
Breaking news, TM in the comments just highlighted the fact that the voice command -cam record works. So
wow,
awesome.
Yeah, so using the voice command -cam record works. So,
so
great to know.
Thanks, TM for being a super sleuth on this one and getting this information to us. That's really cool.
And going back to the heat pump issue, I think that people were talking about how it just cars that are about a year old that are having those issues, and so someone in the forum in the comments are wondering about the fact that it's right around the time they switch from resistive heating to the heat pump, and apparently there's a lot of the pressure sensors within the heat pump that fail, right, and then take down the whole heat system. So.
I think John has a variation of the "my balls are cold" with the camera. Just say, "Record that shit, bro."
And it works. And it works. Does that work? Does that work?
I don't think so. I think he's joking. John, are you joking?
Come on, John.
If that works, there you have your natural speech there.
Oh, that's the second command. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the second command I'll remember.
See, we could help Tesla design their stuff, right? We know what we're doing.
Well, we know their software guys have a great sense of humor as it is, right? This just adds to it. Can I ask a question, Paul? I know it's your show.
Yeah, sure.
For all the things that we're complaining about or critical about, and like you said, we should be allowed to, I'll ask this for both of you guys. Do you think that Tesla is listening, not to us individually, like just us, but like the whole community, the community that's very vocal about it? Do you think they're listening and they're taking it to heart, or do you think they're of the opinion, like some phone companies we know, that are like, no, you'll get used to it, it'll just take time, and this is how we're doing it, and you'll get used to it. Which camp do you think Tesla is in?
Oh boy, I'd like to try this one.
I didn't put you on a spot. I hope. Sorry.
No, like, okay, and I say this in a nice way, right? Like, not all megalomaniacs are bad, right? But by definition, Elon is a megalomaniac, right? So if he's only being fed information that is confirmation bias, right? Like, oh, Elon, this is the greatest thing. Like, Twitter is just, oh, Elon, right? Then he's going to believe that everything he's doing is awesome, right? Even though some things might not be. So I think that's why it's important that as a community, we all feel comfortable that we can talk about some things in a critical way and not just pumping sunshine, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. The one thing I think we have to remember, though, is Elon is a rabid consumer of social media. And so yes, there's no way, to quote one of our Mitchell, the bro listens to what we know, right? Like he picks up on stuff. Like he's going to hear this stuff loud and clear, no matter what they're feeding him from the mothership. And look, he's a smart guy. He's going to get in the car and he's going to use this shit just like us. And he's going to be like, yo, man, where's this? Why do I have to go 2 levels deep to get this? He's going to say the exact same thing that we say, right? And and so for the most part, I think over the years, what we've seen out of Tesla is, they do stuff because they might be a little arrogant, but they usually end up putting stuff back that belongs to be put back because, number one, Elon, gets an earful or gets a social media full, and two, he's probably at the end. He's not right down dirty with the developers when they're building this stuff. And so when he gets a version of it, he probably says, yo, this blows, right? Like this, what are you guys doing?
Do you think that he's that engaged that he would have seen version 11 before it went out? Like,
I think he would have. But not, I don't think he would have. I don't think they would put it in his daily driver, so to speak, right? So that he, and maybe they would have, I don't know, but because I can't believe they would put this in his daily driver and he would still let it go out without the the Bluetooth icon in the top right hand corner or this maybe not the seat heaters because he lives in California, but the defroster 2 levels down, right? Like I don't know, I just can't see it happening, honestly.
Well, you were saying earlier, Kevin, that this is the same interface as the refreshed S, and Elon drives a refreshed S, right? So my first question is, did the seat heaters, are they on the bottom in the refreshed UI?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was thinking about it before the call tonight, and I can't remember where they were in the S, to be honest with you. Now, in fairness, the screen is bigger. It's a 17-inch screen in the S, and so there's more real estate. So some of the things that got buried might not be buried on the S, right? I don't know, but I'm certainly going to go see if I can borrow my friend's S again. So I'm gonna go play with it. So.
Just to compare, I strongly believe, and I've been saying this to people for the last few days, that all the things that we're griping about, which are, like Paul said earlier, they're small things. Overall, the bigger picture, the update is good. Just these small little tweaks, if they were to change it, it would make it excellent. And I think we'll see that. I think in the next few weeks to months, as the updates, little bug fixes and updates come down the pipe, I think we're going to see it.
Yeah, if they let people customize this thing, if they unlock the customization, I think it fixes so many problems.
Oh yeah.
And everyone, I think a lot of people, 99% of people will be happy. I do.
Yeah. There was a comment thread going on here about the voice commands not working without a strong cellular signal. So how
does that work? How does that work? Why is it relying on cell signal? Isn't it just? It doesn't.
I mean, that makes sense for the longest time. For example, like Siri, you couldn't do much without a
server
connection,
base,
right? Because the and same with Google. Now they've moved that with the latest chips. They've got the processing power to move that type of voice recognition and AI to the actual device. So it doesn't surprise me that Tesla requires an internet connection to process the voice commands.
But is it processing it? Because when you do it on your cell phone, you say, where's the restaurant, right? It's got to go and look up Google Maps. It's got to see things, right, and come back to you with the information. In the car, it shouldn't be using the internet to process what you're saying, because they're listed commands. It has access to the car. It should just do whatever, turn on the defroster. Or it's like going around the world to go next door, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know why you'd use the internet to have the language, a list of language processing to turn on your defroster. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense.
This is not the first time I've heard it, and I've experienced this as well, right? Where, if you do have a crappy connection, the voice commands will just fail, right? So I think there's some merit in this comment. Maybe with the Ryzen chip, there'll be enough horsepower to move a lot of what needs to be done out of the cloud and onto the Tesla. You're laughing.
TM, Kevin laughing.
TM, TM posted 3 strips of bacon driver's seat gives you full seat heater.
I have used this one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
bacon 1, bacon 2, bacon 3, right?
Yeah, my kids use it all the time.
I've never heard
terminology. No, you never heard bacon?
I've never heard
snakes. Have you heard of snakes?
No.
Yeah, you can use snake or bacon, and they all work.
But that harkens back to I think that really worked, right? The access to the seat heaters, and it looked like 3 strips of bacon.
That's why I go back to the developers or the guys that write this code. They're brilliant for one, but they've got a good sense of humor too. So don't be surprised if what we were talking about earlier ends up being in there.
Brian says his old Honda did voice commands just fine without connectivity.
Yeah. I actually wanted to test this out. I was listening to you guys a minute ago, and after this, I might hop in my car, kill my LTE connection, and try it out.
Yeah,
you'll know in a minute, right?
Yeah, I don't see the need for it. Like it's got enough processing power, and it controls the functions of the car. I don't see why you'd go to the internet for that.
All right. Well, Dax, make sure you put a comment on this video after you try it out, just to let us know how that worked out. But I think it requires a good internet connection. Maybe there's some voice commands that don't, but I think anything complex like a routing, we're asking the car to route somewhere, I think it's going to require an internet connection to complete that.
Eject passenger seat.
Yeah, that's what I was chuckling at.
I think after an hour and 8 minutes, we're going to see the good comments now. Okay, come on, people, don't hold back. What's better than, what was the last one that was it TM or no? It was somebody else that had the command for
the bro.
Record that shit, bro.
Yeah, record that shit, bro.
Okay, we need more suggestions like that. I think those need to make it all the way up to Elon.
That was 9 o'clock by John Patrick.
Someone's got to test that. We got to test that.
Okay. Let's see. That's another comment here from John. The update messed up a lot of intuitive things, which I think we've talked a lot about already. But we got Sonic the Hedgehog. Growing up, Sonic was, I got to say, it was my game. And I'm super excited to have Sonic, on the Tesla, I have to say.
So I don't want to gloat or anything, but in the Legacy X and S's, they left all of the legacy icons along the top of the screen. They left all of them in place, and so
lucky bastard.
So we've got all of the new stuff, but we've got all of the old stuff. They didn't take away the garage door opener. They didn't take away all that stuff that was along the top. They left it, and so I it's a lot better. But the one thing we didn't get though is the blind spot mirror detect thing. So when you put on your turn signals, the blind spot cameras don't come up.
Oh, ouch.
in the X. Yeah. So we kept a lot of the UI, a lot of the good UI stuff that a lot of people are bitching about, but we didn't get the cameras.
And you have MCU too, right?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So it must be about the orientation of the screen being different. Maybe
it is.
Right?
It is. Yeah. I was just looking at the screenshot that you put up. You've got a lot more real estate. You've got a lot more real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I did hear that you can't play Sonic with the controller. Is that true?
Without.
You can't even play it with the controller.
Oh, you can't. Oh,
I've heard about this, that it's not
right?
working with a
yeah.
controller.
Yeah, there's a couple people in another group that I'm in.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah. Like it was a bad install or something.
Yeah. Oh, here's this other one I wanted to. This one here. Was this part of version 11 where they took away the ability for the passenger to play games?
Well, yeah, because the NHTSA was investigating them, right? So I think they kind of had to.
Well, yeah, and they're supposed to be. I mean, originally it was they were supposed to change it in the software that down in the bottom of the passenger lumbar. Not sorry, they don't have lumbar, but some of the seat controls you had to authenticate that you were a live passenger and you're not just weights in the seat by adjusting the knobs or the controls down by the side on the passenger, and that would allow the passengers to play. But I read an article just yesterday that they're going to take it out completely while the car's in motion, and they can do that just by a quick update.
Oh, wow. Okay. Back to the issue of the controller. So I did read about this over the last couple of days where the USB-C, because of the parts shortage, is power only in a lot of the newer cars that are coming out. So maybe this does explain why some people aren't able to use the controller if they have a newer Model Y or Model 3 or whatever, right?
Good point. Yeah.
But this could be subject for an entire show about how Tesla can swap out components and kind of do this type of stuff. I don't know if they'll ever go back and make it right and replace it with data and power USB, but they're being really innovative, I think, to continue delivering cars.
I think they will.
There's something positive to say about that. Right?
I think they will. I think they will go back and
you think they will?
retro. Yeah, they will retro.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they will. I mean, not for everything, not like lumbar support in the passenger seats and stuff like that. No. But yeah, the things that are important, like the center console, yeah, they will. And I find that they're getting better too. Remember when they first started doing it and we were finding out like the lumbar and a couple things in the center console, we were finding out through the internet that customers were missing it, and sales delivery advisors or Tesla themselves wasn't advising customers about it. Now the latest one, like you guys were just talking about, the USB stuff, where it's just power, it's non-controllable. They actually released a note about that. So they're now getting, I think, the message that, if you're just upfront with the customer and say it'll be fixed once we get the parts in and you can take it into your shop and they'll fix it for you, that's good. Because I don't hear the outrage anymore. Now that people know about it and they're being made aware of it, people aren't like making an outrage about it like the lumbar was back in the summer.
I think it's amazing that Tesla's able to deliver, and I think it's going to be another record quarter, right? Like the other manufacturers are really, really hurting with these parts shortages, and Tesla seems to be delivering cars by being creative, right? And I think that's a really interesting topic for maybe another podcast, but kudos to them. Right?
Speaking of another podcast, can I just answer Andy's question? Andy asks if it's better to order 19-inch wheels for winter on a Model Y and then buy aftermarket wheels for summer, say maybe 20-inch. His Model Y is coming in late June. You should look at our previous podcast, broadcast, Andy. We did a heck of a show on winter driving and did the whole winter tire thing. But 100%, don't spend the extra money on the bigger wheels and rims from Tesla. Go with the 19-inch. Sell your factories. You'll get good money for them. People are looking for Tesla tires all the time. Put winters on them and then go aftermarket 20-inch with summers. 100%. I'm a huge fan of that.
I think that's great advice.
Unless you want all the range you can get. But I agree with Kev.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
there's
tempted
some
to stick
people.
with the 19s. Like I have
Yeah.
the 20-inch. What are they? The turbines? No, not turbines.
Yeah, turbo. Are there?
The turbines? Yeah.
Yeah, the 20-inch Uber turbines, right?
Yes. But for winter, I have the 19s, and
Yeah.
like in the fall, right, just in that transition period. I mean, I got so much more range from those 19-inch.
Yeah.
That it's tempting to just stay with 19.
Yeah.
This is an interesting point. I mean, it's kind of what we're talking about, how Tesla being innovative. Some other manufacturers haven't really fared as well as Tesla during this part shortage, right?
No.
Cadillac is shipping no seat heaters to any of their cars. Cadillac. Buying a Cadillac, your seats aren't heated, and they're not coming back to fix it.
And that's a Cadillac. Wow.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be,
Yeah, and they're not coming back to fix it.
Yeah.
Are they giving customers a price reduction? I wonder.
And well, it sounds like the traditional
Would
dealership
you
model
care?
is
Like,
to just
honestly-
jacking the prices up.
But honestly, Dax, would you care?
I know. And that's the whole point of me asking that. It was half tongue in cheek. Yeah, you're a Cadillac customer. Price is not an object. It's not like if you save $400, you're going to be, oh, great, now I can afford a car. I totally agree with you. Yeah. And the only reason I ask is because back in the summer, I think BMW was doing the same thing for a seat adjustment also. Maybe it was lumbar also. And they were crediting on the invoice, they were crediting.
Oh, I remember that.
Something
Like
stupid.
$500 or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous. And they fall into the same category as a Cadillac driver, right? You can afford a BMW type of thing. Like, is a $400 going to be huge for you?
Yeah. Okay, so
you've heard the joke about the porcupine and the BMW driver, right?
Tell us.
What's the difference between a porcupine and a BMW driver? The with the BMW, the pricks are on the inside.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, BMW.
I hadn't heard that one, but
I used to drive
Audi
a
comes to
BMW,
mind too. All right, I like to keep these things around an hour and 15 minutes.
I don't know how you do it.
That being said, if there's anyone that has anything else they want to add in the comments, we're here. We're chatty. Let's give it another minute or so, see if we've got some more stuff people want to talk about. And if not, we'll call it a show. So I like that. Just leave it up to the audience.
Well, following while we wait, following in Kevin's footsteps while we're telling jokes, my daughter told me a joke. Sorry, my son told me a joke today, and he wanted me to say it on the podcast. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say it. It's not funny enough, or not that it wasn't funny, but I'm talking about Tesla cars. This has nothing to do with it. But because you brought that up, Kev, I can. It's a good segue. Has nothing to do with Tesla or cars, but it's a segue because you told a joke. I'm going to tell a joke. Why did the coffee file a police report?
Tell us.
It got mugged.
Oh boy. Okay.
Boom. And
all right. On that note, let's end it this way. Okay. So Dax, going back to the title of the show today, does version 11 suck or is it good?
Overall, it's good. It's got some growing pains, but it's good. I like it.
Okay. Kevin, same question. Does it suck or is it good?
It's closer to being good than sucking. That's what I'll say.
Okay. That's a very political way to put it. I like that.
It's just at that tipping point, though.
Well, it depends what they do with it. If they do nothing, it sucks. If they make the changes that I laid out for them, send some money my way, then it's great.
Mitchell has a good comment here, and I'd say I agree with Mitchell here. It's not bothering me much. There are a couple of things that I know Mitchell's out in California, so maybe he's not bothered by the seat heater stuff controversy. But there's some things that need to be done to make it better. There was a couple of head scratcher, but that being said, I think in balance that it doesn't suck. It's not great. The good, better, best or something. It's good, right? It's not in the better, best. categories. That's how I view it. So
It's one bacon.
yes, on a scale of 3 bacons, it's 1 bacon.
Which is better
right.
than just being off. No bacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dax, where can people find you?
People can find me, and I always want to say that I want to write this down because I always forget. But basically, in a nutshell, people can find me here on YouTube under DaxM. That's my YouTube channel where I put out Tesla videos and Tesla Talk stuff every now and then, as much as I can. And then if you want to join us in the controversial and head-splitting Facebook social media, you can find me in there in the Canadian Model 3 and Canadian Model Y Facebook groups.
Okay, great. Before we get to you, Kevin, there's one last question that came in here. Caesar joined a bit late. Did we talk about the hydroplane issues at low speeds? I'm not even aware of this. Have you heard about this?
Sounds like a tire. That sounds like a tire issue, not a car issue.
Yeah, sorry, Caesar. That's not something that I've heard of, but I'll definitely do a little bit of research after the show. Maybe learn a little bit more about what this issue might be. Someone wants to know an electrician in Barrie that can install Tesla wall charger. Send me an email, theteslacanuck@gmail.com. So theteslacanuck@gmail.com. Send me an email, and I'll see if I can help you out. The person that installed mine came up from Toronto, so I don't know how much help I'm going to be, but do send me an email. Okay. All right, so I think that's it for a show. Oh, no, Kevin, where can we find you?
Exclusively on your channel, Paul.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. I've got an exclusive on Tesla Cav. So if you like Tesla Cav, you can only find it on my show. So please subscribe.
You're his manager.
Mitchell asked, have you tried the auto seat heaters? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Mitchell, and I like to control my own bacons. It's basically where I think we all ended up on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We love doing this, and we love spending time with you, and we'll be back with another show probably in a couple of weeks or so. So subscribe if you want to know when. All right. Have a great evening or afternoon or wherever you are, and we'll catch you on the next one. Tesla Canuck and crew, over and out.
He always does it the opposite. He
I
always
did
does
it wrong
his
again.
microphone. It's such a klutz.
I
See
think
you
I
later,
used my
folks.
wrong arm that time.
All right. All right, so you guys there, just go off mute. I think it's playing the outro.
Kevin just left.
He did, eh?
Are we off? Do we know if we're off?
I don't know.